Good morning, bright and early, 7:15. I'm up and moving. I actually did my video this morning. Yay! I figured I better start this before I get too involved with my day. So let's go over today's task. It's going to be a busy day. Peaches. I have to do something with the peaches. I better start those first thing this morning because I really have to do that. I have, for the girls, for their homeschool stuff, today we're doing their Mysteries in Time box. So I'm really excited. This is our first box. So maybe I'll include a little video on that and we'll see I don't really know what's included in it because this is our first box. We haven't even opened it yet. So we'll see how that goes today. But I'm really excited. A friend did it last year and she loved it, and her son loved it. Then freeze dryer. I have a batch of food to put in the freeze dryer. And so they're in the freezer now, and then that'll give me room in the freezer to put pureed peaches that I'm going to do this morning. So I got to get that freeze dryer going this morning. I've got some video editing to do. I've got a couple logos to work on. This is for my graphic and webpage design. I've got one website to work on. And then I have a meeting with my sister's magazine that I designed this afternoon. So that's pretty much my day. My cuticles are all peeling and dry, and it's raining today. We're getting flood warnings, and that'll be fun. But the house is nice and quiet. I love it. The big boys went off to school last night. So let me tell you the cow story. Last year, my friend and I went in on a cow together. We got really great reviews from this rancher, and he does the best like cow meat and stuff. Well, so my friend and I went in. We each got half a cow, and we got it butchered and all that last year, and got it filled our freezers and everything like that. It's great. Well, when we went to cook the meat, it was so tough. Now, I grew up on a ranch. So we butchered cows, we did all that. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm gonna multitask because that's how I get stuff done as I tell you this story. So I'm gonna get the freeze dryer going, and so it can get cooling off. That's one thing with the freeze dryers. If you're putting something in them that's already frozen, you have to, I say warm them up, but it's not warm them up, it's cool them down. You have to turn it on and let it get cold inside. Otherwise, when you put your frozen stuff in it, it'll start to defrost. Okay, that's my little side thing. So, got that going. Okay, so the cow. So we got this cow, and the meat was so tough. I mean, it was insanely tough. And I think I'm gonna make me some hot chocolate this morning while I'm talking to you. So it was so tough. And I mean, it was bad. It's the type of meat that you have to literally cook it low and slow for like 24 hours in order for it to be edible. Okay, that's not normal. That's not normal. Roast should not be that long. I mean, even in the crock pot, you should be able to cook a roast even on high for 2 to 4 hours, and it's fine and done and all that. Well, we reached out to after a month or so, because, at first you kind of give that benefit of the doubt, and you're thinking, did I do something wrong? Was it just the cut of meat? Was this just a type of roast that's tougher, whatever. So roast, steaks, we tried a few different things to no avail. Like, it didn't matter. Any of the meat from that cow was tough. And for both my friend and I am a very experienced cook. She's a decent cook, not as experienced as I am, but she can follow a recipe, and she is a good cook. She's not as creative cook as I am. Let's put it that way. Yeah, she doesn't get creative, but she follows recipes. So both of us, we have experience cooking things like that. So we reached out to the rancher, And basically, you know, cause he's a good guy, and we're like, okay, what are we doing wrong? And both of us were like, we have cooked these cuts of meat, like these roasts or steaks or whatever, and they are so tough, they're like inedible. And to see if he had any suggestions. And my friend even was like, I will Zoom with you if you want to walk me through. Let me know if I'm doing something wrong, but this is the toughest meat I've ever had. And he felt so bad, and he's just like, that is not how my cows are. He's just like, I'm so embarrassed. And he said, I owe you another cow. And so I mean, just that was so kind of him. And that was awesome. So what we think had happened, he used for our cow, because this was last year when everything was crazy, he used a different butcher that he had never used before. And so what I think happened, like, especially because the rancher, him and his beef, like, literally came so highly recommended from so many people. What I think happened is, I think the butcher swapped out. I think that we didn't get the cow that the rancher took to the butcher. And there was a few things, we just weren't real impressed with the butcher. So they didn't wrap the meat, like they wrapped the meat in paper and that's it. But some of it would be wrapped in plastic and then the paper, but not all of it. Like there was no consistency. Some of the meat was wrapped in plastic and then the paper. Some was just flat out wrapped in butcher paper. And it was bloody mess. Like I'm not like using British slang. Like it was bloody mess. There was just blood all over the packages. It was a mess. And some of the packages had the stamp of what was inside them, like ground beef or whatever. Some of them were stamped what was inside and some were handwritten. And some of them, they would be the same cut of meat, but it was labeled two different ways. It was so weird and inconsistent. So between all those factors and the fact that the meat was so tough, which the rancher was just he was just so embarrassed. And he felt so bad. We think that this was a shady butcher. Oh, and then on top of that, we didn't get, so we had the whole cow between our friend and I. We had about 300 pounds hanging weight each. And neither of us got ribeyes. We didn't get tenderloin roast it's like tenderloin or filet mignon. Like these are some of the most expensive cuts of the cow. Like the tenderloin is usually about $65 to $85 and there's 2 per cow. Like neither of us got that. Neither of us got ribeye steaks. Neither of us got, like, some of the most expensive cuts of the cow we didn't get. And we had all these other we had tons of T-bone steaks and we had, all these other ones, but none of the good ones. So anyhow, all those factors combined, we think it was a shady butcher, which ironically, the butcher is now out of business. So surprise, surprise. So anyhow, the rancher, he was so sweet. And so we've been working with him and we're like, he offered the other, he's like, I owe you another cow. That's not the kind of meat I produce and sell. I don't want the reputation. Good man. I mean, like, really, how many people are that? That's a good, honest guy, and we offered to give the meat back. We're like, do you want the meat back? And he's just like, no, use it. He's like, if it's bad. And we're like, we've had to learn how to, like, the thing is we've just had to learn that you have to cook it for a good 24 hours. Let me set my stand there. You have to cook it for a good 24 hours on low for it to be edible. And still sometimes it's like stringy and tough. So got my hot chocolate. Ooh, I'm gonna sit down with my hot chocolate for a second. So anyhow, we've been trying, like, knowing that he was gonna replace the cow and we were gonna have a bunch more beef. And this has been since the spring or something. And so he knew there was no rush and, we do it this fall or, whenever he was ready to butcher again. We weren't in any big hurry. And anyhow, so it's kind of happened quickly that he took some cows to the butcher, and this is a good butcher, that it's actually a new butcher, but it's one that he's been using and he's really impressed with them. And honestly, he had them call me and to find out what cuts we wanted and stuff. And even just in that phone call, I was impressed with them. Like, they're really cool. So from what he said, they like vacuum pack it or seal it? I think it's vacuum packed. They vacuum pack the meat and then they wrap it in the butcher paper. So it's like in plastic, then paper, which is awesome. That's really the best way to do it when you're storing it in the freezer, because that's going to give it a longer life. But just talking to the butcher on the phone, I was really impressed. So let's hope everything turns out great. We have to go pick up the meat from the butcher this Saturday. We weren't expecting it till like the end of the month. And so my friend and I were both like we had gradually been cleaning out our freezers, but not this fast. So we're both kind of scrambling. So I was going through the freezer last night and I'm like, what do we have? What do we need to use up? So we pulled out some stew meat, and we have like 4 packages of stew meat, and I put that in the crock pot last night, and we're making a beef stew for dinner today, which actually turned out perfect because it's a rainy day. So, now I got the hiccups. So that worked out perfect. But we got a couple of roasts and just a few things that I'm like, oh, I don't want to have beef every single night. But that's okay. We're gonna make some big meals, and then luckily we have the freeze dryer and we can freeze dry leftovers. So that's kind of the plan for the next week, even though like we'll pick up the cow on Saturday, the beef, and I'll have room in the freezer for it to go in by then. And anything that we have to pull out, we'll just have in the fridge defrosting, and we'll have some parties over the next week or two. So yeah, that's our plan menu wise. So this is exciting. Anyhow, sorry, this is going to be a longer video because this was morning story time with Jody. But now I've got my hot chocolate and I'm ready to start my day and get working on peaches. Between sneezing fits today, so I just started the freeze dryer. Oh, now my nose is gonna run. I got green bell peppers, 2 trays of my homemade salsa, I call it miracle sauce, and then 1 tray of shredded beef that's fajita taco season. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Oh my goodness, I've been having sneezing fits all morning. That was only 1 sneeze. That's pretty good. Anyhow, so got the freeze dryer started. So now time to head to Peaches. Okay, we're gonna open the girls' mysteries in time. Little box. I broke the tape seal. So this is part of our homeschool curriculum. Ancient, where's that?
Egypt.
Okay, dear young historian, you are about to embark on a journey through history. Ancient Egypt is the first stop, where you will learn about mummies, hieroglyphs, pharaohs, and more. Join us as we travel back in time to solve an intriguing mystery. Turn the page for some tips about how to use this box. We hope you have fun. From Max and Katie. So, contents and tips for using the box. Open your world map. Can you find Egypt? So there's a world map in here. Add the timeline sticker to the timeline. Where will you put it? Max and Katie received the time machine box and the time travel sticker in the post, just like you did. Get these ready and you can join them on their adventure as you read.
3.
And then number 3, get the Max and Katie's Egyptian adventure story and the bookmark ready. Find a cozy reading place and start your adventure. 4, read the history magazine before, after, or alongside the Max and Katie story to boost your historical knowledge. Fun quiz and puzzles inside. You'll need the hieroglyph chart here. 5, time to get creative. Inside the craft bag, air drying clay and gem stickers. Make your very own amulet. Ooh.
Can I read the 6?
Okay, 6. What is 6?
Color on 3 different coloring sheets.
Ooh. 7. You want to read that one?
Here are some fun extras just for you. A sticker, sheet, and a surprise gift to keep.
And 8, if you've enjoyed your adventure, remember to tell your friends about us. Have fun. Your next adventure will be to Elizabethan, London. Awesome. Okay, so there's the craft instructions. Okay, so let's go on the list. So we are going to work our way down the list here for today's social studies activity.
Yay.
Well, here's our status. I didn't get video editing done. I kind of started it a little bit, but then I realized I got to do reviews. So there's only so much I can do there. So I guess I kind of got that as far as I could do. Everything else got peaches done. Yay. Well, 1 box. So I got 1 box. I've filled my freezer now with peaches. I have the freeze dryer going with the other load that was in the freezer. So I'm out of trays now. When the batch that's in the freeze dryer finishes, I can pull those out, wash the trays, and put more peaches on them. And then the peaches that are in the freezer will go in the freeze dryer, and I'll cut more peaches and put them on the trays. Luckily, not all the peaches were as soft as I thought they would be. So that's good. So that I have a couple more days to do that. So I'm satisfied with that. We've got half of them done and freezing, and they'll go in the freezer probably tomorrow. I'm thinking what's in there now will probably be done tomorrow. So making progress. I got my work done, graphic design stuff, got a lot of work done on the website and the logos and stuff for the magazine. So all in all, it was a really productive day. And I totally forgot I have a Relief Society event tonight. And we're supposed to bring our favorite snack. And ideally I was thinking, oh, this would be a good time to make some homemade bread or something. Yeah, the time got away from me. So I think I'm gonna make some popcorn. I have a movie theater popcorn machine. I think I'm just gonna pop up some really good popcorn and take that, because that is seriously one of my favorite snacks. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have a half hour. I do have time to make cookies, but I think I'm gonna go with popcorn.